In today's video I will show you how to make delicious bread rolls, homemade, only 4 ingredients, and very easy to make really quick. As you can see in here, they look delicious and they taste delicious. Okay, let's start with our ingredients. All we need is 4 ingredients, actually 3 if you don't want to count the water. So I have put the ingredients as we're gonna be adding them to the bowl. We do not need a mixer for this, so it's nice and easy, anyone can make it, it's that easy. So we'll start with the water. The water I would recommend to use mineral water, spring water. It has to be room temperature, but I would not recommend a tap water. Tap water and yeast is not a good combination. Sometimes it can kill the yeast. If you're wondering why it didn't work, it might be because of the water. So on a safe side, if you don't want to waste your time and energy, just use a mineral still water. We'll need about 220 milliliters of water. Then we're gonna add some yeast. So we'll need about 3 grams. And remember, when you're buying it, you want to have the longest longest date. Why? Because longer the date, the fresher yeast is. So, common sense, you want to buy one which got the longest date on it. It will be fresher. We want to use a fresh yeast, which is 3 grams, or you can use a dry one, which is 2 grams. Next up, we'll need some flour, of course, and the flour is important in here. Better quality flour, I always explain, is better quality bake. So you want to get a good bread flour. It's important, we need to use a bread flour. So this one, if you live in UK like myself, I can highly recommend this one from Marks & Spencer. Is very strong Canadian white bread flour. And I have baked a few things from this one, I can highly recommend it. The best flour so far I have used. So you need some bread flour. You don't need to sift this one. You just use it straight in, easy peasy. Next up, we'll need some salt. Salt combined with yeast is a must. You do not want to bake any bread or bread rolls with no salt ever. It changed completely recipe. So salt is needed, and we'll need about 1 teaspoon of salt, which is about 5-6 grams. So 1 teaspoon of salt, and that's all we need. So what we'll need is a simple bowl. As I mentioned, we do not need a mixer. We're gonna throw all the ingredients in this order. So water, straight away yeast, sorry. My daughter keeps correcting me how to say yeast, and I still can't say it properly. So just ignore me, and we need to add flour and salt, that's all. And then we're gonna mix it with the fork, and we're done. That's how simple it is. $222 milliliters. Now we're gonna add 3 grams of fresh or 2 grams of dry yeast. Mix everything with a fork. Now we're gonna add 320 grams of flour, bread flour. It should be enough, I hope. $320 grams, and we're gonna mix it. Add 1 teaspoon of salt. Now we're gonna mix it, just mix the dough with your fork until we don't have any dry bits of flour either on the side, or underneath the dough. So we're just gonna mix it basically. Okay, now we're gonna cover and leave in a warm place, very warm place, for 1 hour. So we want to leave it around close to the radiator for 1 hour. Yes, see you then. Okay, it's been an hour and I will show you how the dough looks like. It's grown, as you can see. Okay, what we have to do now is prepare some water in here. We're gonna make our hand wet and we're gonna basically use our hands to grab the dough and put it to the middle. Grab the dough from this side and also put it to the middle. Grab from this side, put it to the middle, from side to the middle. Now what we want to do is grab the dough, lift it and shape it into bowl. Grab it up, shape it into bowl and throw it again, just a few times. But use that water on the side to make your hands wet and to form the dough better. Now we're gonna have to just leave it, cover it, leave it, do something else in the meantime, go and clean your house and leave it in a warm place for another. Okay, it's been an hour. We're gonna get a chopping board and we're gonna get something to cut the dough. We of course need some flour, a bit of flour, the same type of flour used for your bread rolls. So we need to put it on a chopping board. Ooh la la. As you can see in here, the dough has grown and there's some bubbles, which is a really good sign that the dough is healthy. Now we're gonna take the dough out, we're gonna stretch it out, shape it a bit and cut it into 6 bread rolls. I usually stretch my dough for the length of my chopping board, and now we're gonna cut it in 6 equal parts. Sorry. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We want them the same size, so you want to cut them the same size, but don't worry too much because you can adjust them later. It's easy to adjust them. Okay, now we have to roll each piece. So this is how we roll it. We're gonna do it the same with each piece, and then we're gonna have to grab one of those pieces like this, grab one end inside, one end inside, keep doing this to form a nice bread roll. Once we do it a few times, turn around, and now we're gonna form a bowl with a bit of flour, nice roll. I'm gonna roll it. You probably need both hands for it, so use both hands. I'm holding the camera, so we want to make sure it's nice and round. We're gonna do exactly the same with all of them, and want to make sure they are the same size. Okay, we have formed 6 bread rolls. If you have, let's say, that one much bigger than that one, simply pinch a little bit of dough from this one, add it to this one, make it into a bread roll, into roll, and job done. You want them kind of similar size, but if they're not going to be perfect, that's completely fine, because more natural shape, better they will look later. What we have to do now is simply cover them again, leave spaces because they're going to grow a little bit, cover them with the cloth, leave it for 1 hour, and we're ready to bake. As you can see here, they've grown quite big. What we have to do now is sprinkle a bit of flour. With this, it's easier to sprinkle so it goes all around nicely. If you're doing it by hand, trying to sprinkle with the flour, we're not gonna go that good, so better use that one of those. What we have to do now is with your hand, just press them a little bit. Now we're gonna take a fork and we're gonna form them nicely. I'll show you how easy it is. This is how we're gonna do with each of a bread roll. We want to firmly press it down. Now we have to preheat the oven for at least 15 minutes, and then we're gonna bake them for 20 minutes, and then we're going in a cover with the cover, and then we're gonna get rid of the cover and bake them for another 10 minutes. So it will be the same temperature, 30 minutes full bake. I will leave in the first comment, I will leave the recipe, and also I will leave the temperature for each oven. It's very easy to move them. I use one of those. It's good for cakes, bread and everything else, so get yourself one of those, very cheap, and as you can see, very easy to move them here into a baking tray. I've got a small baking tray. You can put 6 at once. I just got small baking tray because we need to put another the same size of those on top. That's why I need to bake them twice, but it's okay. What we have to do now is get a little bit of water. We're gonna sprinkle the water in between the bread rolls, and it will be better for baking the rolls, so it's a very important part. I'm gonna bake them for 20 minutes with the cover first, and then without the cover for another 20.